Hello, everybody. Game changers, soul warriors, and new earth creators. I have a very important message today from you, from Malachi. Malachi was actually once on this earth. He is considered a saint and a master, and also a leader of the 144,000. This message is in regarding to this week ahead, 4th of July, the return of Christ, the ascension, right? Because we are in a great reset. We are in the 7th wave of creation. It is absolutely the return of Christ right now. So this message has to do with some interesting stuff. Okay, bear with me. It is the 4th of July. There is a portal shift this week ahead, determining upon your choices. And Kurt Cobain also came through. Okay, he started coming through actually yesterday during my live. So I have a message of importance with what happened to him. And also President Trump versus Biden. What is going to happen with the election? Okay, I asked, and I'm going to give you the message that I got. Okay, are you ready for this? So thank you for watching. Watch the whole video. I encourage you to do so. Please like and subscribe and stick around if you want to, because everything during the return of Christ has played out on this channel. From uniting Jesus and Mary Magdalene to undoing the Holy Grail, which was not holy at all, shifting the poles, taking us into 7D instead of 5D, activating all pyramids, and so much more. Sekhmet and Horus returning, Adam and Eve returning, the whole shebang is done. Okay, so this is a very important message. So I encourage you to take your time on this channel. Stick around and diligently watch the videos, and do not allow judgment to stop you. And if you comment, I welcome it, but comment love and love only, because if you bring judgments to this space, it will hurt you, because this is the 7th wave of creation. We are ascending. Those that ascend will stay. Those that don't have to go another way. Okay? It is the great reset, the golden era, the return of Christ. So let's do this. All right. So this week ahead is the 4th of July. Depending upon where you are, it happens on the 4th of July. Some people have it different times, since I don't know if every country celebrates it or not. I don't know. It has everything to do with the United States, the Emancipation Proclamation. And this is very important, so I need you to listen up, okay? I really need you to hear me. During the return of Christ, I cleared Mount Shasta. That was one of the very first things that I did, and this is a representation of that. There were hundreds of souls trapped there. I didn't paint this. Somebody else painted this before I did. And yes, if this flag burning offends you, then you may not be in the right space. Okay, because united we stand, and united they fall. That's the return of Christ once and for all. Okay, so hear me out. During Mount Shasta Part 1, I will put the link to that video below this video. Okay, that was one of my very first workshops for the return of Christ. There's 2 parts to it. Part 2, I burned Archangel Samael. He was the original fallen. Part 1, I undid so many contracts back to Abraham Lincoln and others, and that dealt with the Emancipation Proclamation. Okay, he was murdered. Keep this in mind. All right? He didn't agree with what was done, and I had to undo the Emancipation Proclamation. It's not what you thought at all. That makes full sense if you watch the return of Christ, the resurrection of Christ on Christmas Day, when I undid the Holy Grail. And what the Holy Grail was not a cup. It was a contract. Okay. And it enslaved you all. All right. So if you think the Emancipation Proclamation brought freedom, they fooled you. Okay. So understand that. That's number 1. If you don't understand that, if you don't believe that, then obviously you're going to be in the united they fall, and that's your choice. That's up to you. But for those that choose to stand and rise and hear it all and understand that Jesus is not just a man, it is a man and a woman, Adam and Eve above all. Okay, this is the return of Christ. Ascension means to rise above, to rise up to God. So the true God. Okay, so it is this week ahead. There's a very important message here. I hope you hear. Okay, so in order to hear me even more, I'm going to help clear your crown chakra. Okay, I want it to open up your crown so that the information can come in, because judgments, ego, fear are not of God. God does not judge. That is the shadow. God is unconditional love. And what I do is real, so it does spark your shadow. So you have to be very careful not to bring it here at all, okay? But also to let it absorb, okay? But to be open. So if you're covered in shadow, you won't hear me anyways. You can only hear to where the shadow lies. That was Mount Shasta. It was the false veil, okay? You were anchored into a false disguise, not true God. Religion lies. So I'm bringing down light from the heavens above to come into your crown chakra and open you up to pure divine truth and unconditional love. If you wish to receive and hear what I say, then just say yes, or be present and stay and be open with the intent of yes. Again, I see actually some shadow, so I'm removing some yuck and some muck from the headspace. And it's going to pour down into the heart. I feel something in the throat. Hang on. I do burp to release, so forgive me. I don't do Reiki. I'm a master healer. So everything you see out there is a fragment of the one. So I do everything. So just understand that. It is time to rise once and for all, or if you're not ready and you have lessons to learn and you need to continue on somewhere else for another ever long, then that's up to you. But those who want to rise need to see the truth and need to hear it all and choose love unconditionally, clear all karma, and understand the shackles that bind you. And if you found me, there's a reason. Your soul is calling you here. So choose wisely what you do. And I'm also bringing in pink tourmaline into the energy and into your energy base. Okay. So here's what was said, okay, for 4th of July week. So I have to say, during my live yesterday, I had a message about what it meant to be heart-centered and balanced from the heart center and the truth of the return of Christ. And Kurt Cobain kept coming in. And he kept singing the song. Where the bad folks go when they die. They don't go to heaven where the angels fly. They go to a lake of fire and fry. Listen. See him again till the 4th of July. People come, people grow. Some grow young, some grow cold. That's what kept coming through yesterday. So I want you to understand this song. And I kept going, let's dive deeper. And so when I brought the message today, he came in again, Kurt Cobain. We all know he has passed along. Some people think some celebrities fake their deaths. Some do, but some don't. He absolutely is on the other side. I'm going to tell you what happened to him too, because I got a download of it. We need to understand what was happening. See him again till the 4th of July. Where the bad folks go when they die. They don't go to heaven where the angels fly, which is now the new earth, mind you. They go to a lake and fire, where fire and fry, right? They go to a lake of fire and fry. See him again till the 4th of July. Now a little context. When I processed the earth's death, because I did that after I dried the Nile in my workshops during the return of Christ, and that's real. You can find those on this channel in the Ascension playlist. I took her into heaven. I opened up the gates on heaven. There are 13 gates, not 12. And she became the entirety of the Garden of Eden. And everything else that didn't align burned. Okay. It's because the vibrations don't align. So the very first thing I did is remove darkness from light. You cannot carry darkness into the new earth. You cannot. If you do not want to grow and grow up and be responsible and in your own power, and you're not ready to rise, then welcome to the end of the days. Okay? Because it is the end of days outside of God, true God. It's not the end of the world, but it is the end of ways outside of God. Okay, so let's listen. This week, I see two paths. You are either on one or you are on the other. Okay? Depends on what you are celebrating, what you are paying attention to, and what your heart is open to. All right? If you still don't believe that Jesus is already here, then maybe you came to the right place at the right time, and it's time to see the truth. Because he is. And it's not just a he you are looking for. It's a masculine and a feminine. It's twin souls. Okay? So, freedom rings. Freedom rings. Freedom rings. You must emancipate yourself now. Listen to this video because I'm going to talk about this week ahead what you must do with it to make it into the right path to rise above. And I'm going to talk about what happened to Kurt Cobain and the relevance of that song. And I'm going to also talk about what's coming for President Trump and Joe Biden according to Malachi. Okay, according to Spirit. All right, so that's what this video is going to entail. So stay through for it all if you want to know it all. Separate from the past now. We are truly free at last if you choose to be. This is free will induced, my friends, because you don't have to stay here with me. I am the new earth. I'm in the new earth. I know what the gates look like. I know what you have to do. Okay. You have to separate from all shackles that bind you. All right. I was born in the US of A. I'm not religious. I'm not anti anything, but you need to hear me. I am love. And it is time to undo what was not true. Okay. So hear me. God is not a division. I need you to understand that. The cross was the Ankh. The true cross is the Ankh. Okay. They broke it when they stole Jesus's soul and they ripped him apart from his twin flame, Mary Magdalene. That's when it broke. Okay. So those crosses with him on it is not God. Hear me. We are truly free at last. I've undone the Holy Grail. I've undone all darkness. I've opened up all 13 gates, and I activated all feminine and masculine pyramids. Dried the Nile, Horus returned, everything returned. We are free at last, if you choose to be. Malachi says, from the matrix, one must be detached this week. Align with the heart at last. This is urgent. This is not tomorrow. This is now. Lots of energies and spirits around you all. So when Kurt Cobain came in yesterday during my live, what I was seeing is it's like Halloween. Like all the souls are on the surface of the earth. They are around you from darkness to light. So if you think activity, it won't be heightened, it absolutely will. Okay. Can you have dreams of loved ones heightened this week? Yes. There's lots that can be going on, including the shadow trying to pull you down even more. So there's lots of energies and spirits around you all. Beware of what you celebrate this week ahead. Is it in the truth of what happened? If you don't believe me, you're not watching the truth, because all of the proof of what I've said is right in front of you. And if you don't think it is, it's because you did not watch everything. Because those videos on my channel are mostly workshops of the return of Christ that happened through me. It was my own awakening. And I didn't know what I was doing when I was doing it. It came through and I processed it. And there's so much proof from paintings from other people I didn't do before I even did the work that proved it all to so much more. Okay. It's all there. It's all there. Trust me. Be aware of what you celebrate this week ahead. It is in the truth of what happened or in the matrix. Bloodshed and war divided. I've said it before. Do you know why we brought down the anointing of the blood of Christ? Because I did that before I resurrected Jesus and Mary Magdalene. I freed his soul first, processed his death. John the Apostle poisoned him with bread and wine. That's why in church they would give you communion. They were celebrating his death. The church is not of God. Do you hear me? Religion has to be removed from your energy. And there's a video on here to do that for you. Bloodshed and war divided. God is not bloodshed. So war is a division. Okay. Anywhere there's sacrifice, anywhere there's bloodshed, that is not God. God would never tell you to kill anybody. God would never sacrifice love for your pain. That doesn't make sense. There is no gain. There should be no divide. There should be no war, and we should not celebrate that at all. And I'm getting chills. Okay? At all. Hear me. This is very important. So depending upon what side you're on, if you want to see the truth and how much pain they caused and how much suffering they brought through, that was not God at all. God did not allow it. This is why the return of Christ is here. Okay? This is why all karma will now play out. The blood of Christ, Jesus's blood, I did bring down, and we cleansed the earth, but not all of it got cleansed. Not everybody received that. Then in the resurrection on Christmas Day of 22, I undid the Holy Grail. It was a contract written in his blood. So his own closeness, people to him, which something happened even with that in the return of Christ. I'm going to tell you this time. But those closest to him, John the Apostle, poisoned him, and 4 others were with him. Then and he died very slowly, and he bled out of every orifice. I felt it. I processed his death. It's my twin soul. And you don't have to believe me. Watch the videos. Mary Magdalene was forced. She was distraught. She was covered in his blood. And you can watch this. It played out live on Christmas Day on my channel because I undid it. I had to process it and undo the false Holy Grail. It was not holy. That's why I don't like to call it the Holy Grail. After they poisoned him and murdered him, he was bled out of every orifice because it was like cyanide or strychnine. I always forget. You have to watch the video. They made Mary gather his blood in a cup, and that's the cup they called the Holy Grail to confuse you and lie to you. Then they wrote a contract in his blood written in Hebrew. And when I undid that, I drained all the blood back off of it and down into the earth to be transmuted. And before that, I had already brought down the blood of Christ to cleanse the earth. So if you don't think karma's about to play out, you're wrong. And I just got chills. In those videos, I told you this was a karmic shift. What was done in the darkness cannot be brought to the light, and what is done in the light cannot be taken and forsaken by the darkness anymore. So do not celebrate war. Do not celebrate bloodshed and loss of life. That is not God. God is not a division, and he would never sacrifice his love for your demise. That makes no sense. That takes away your freedom. This is not true freedom. The American system, the matrix, was not freedom at all, okay? We should never have to sacrifice a life. War is a division. Religion is a division, and none will survive. That is not okay. So hear it. It is in the truth of what happened, or in the matrix, bloodshed and war divided. Be aware of what you celebrate this week ahead. Just like I said with Easter, it was not of God at all. Emancipate yourself and choose freedom from the matrix. Now remember, in Mount Shasta Part 1, that was what created the false veil. It's where darkness resided. It is not of light at all. Okay, not of light at all. There was nothing of light at Mount Shasta. The Part 1, you can watch it. I eliminated the Emancipation Proclamation. Okay, before I did all that, I saw the pillars crumble over Abraham Lincoln. Before I even did that, like a year before. Okay, understand what's happening. It's very serious to understand this, because the world is about to shift. And if you are not shifting with it, you are falling with it. There's only those places to go. Judgment Day is not judgment. It is you reap what you sow. Some will stay. Those are the ones who celebrate true God. Love, unconditional love, no divide. They see the truth. They awaken, they heal it all, and they undo their karma back to the beginning of time. Those are the ones who stay. Some will go. Those are the ones who have a pure heart, but just don't quite make it all the way. They don't quite see, they choose, they're not ready, and they fall. And then some will never know life this way. You can consider that what you would call hell, but God doesn't call it that. It's just void of life. It's void of light. And you will never know life this way. That's the 3 places to go. Okay? That's the return of Christ. What was done to God is not okay. And it's not what they told you at all. From Adam and Eve to Jesus and Mary Magdalene to Sekhmet and Horus, they lied to you. And it's all on this channel, including freeing the souls from the Sphinx and from Jesus's murder and my DM rising and taking those on and me getting mine back and clearing all darkness. It's all there. And the proof is there. If you don't want to see it, then you're not in the right place. But if you found me, there's a reason. So don't let your shadow and ego fool you. Emancipate yourself and choose freedom from the matrix now. And it will change your path. Understand truth once and for all. Who do you stand for? Let it be now known. 2 paths this week determined by what you celebrate. Darkness or light. For darkness, the future is bleak. They're on their way out. Now I'm going to go into Kurt Cobain because he kept coming through with that song. Now listen to that song. Where the bad folks go when they die, they go to a lake of fire and fry. You'll see them again till the 4th of July. Where the bad folks go when they die, they don't go to heaven where the angels fly. They go to a lake of fire and fry. See them again till the 4th of July. There's a very powerful message in that song. Do you want to know why he was murdered? He was murdered. Do you understand? He didn't want to do drugs. He was trying to get off of everything. They were controlling him because he didn't want to be controlled. He knew the truth. He knew the truth of the false system. And so I asked who killed him. Murdered by the lead singer of Garbage. Wasn't that his wife? For money. Hang on, I wrote it all down. He was murdered for money, for monetary gain, and fame. Tangled web we weave. So she was coerced, like by darkness. Okay, this was for control. Now, how does darkness coerce you? It can come in a physical form. It can come into your head, into your energy. And she did it. Okay, so if there's money and fame involved, somebody told her to do it and she would have gain. Okay, because they silenced him. Listen to the lyrics of his music. Where the bad folks go when they die, they don't go to heaven where the angels fly. Except God does not speak of heaven and hell. They go to a lake of fire and fry because the energy doesn't align. Where Christ truly is, darkness cannot reside. Okay. See him again till the 4th of July. Why about the 4th of July is that important? It has everything to do with the Emancipation Proclamation. It has everything to do with freedom of the soul back to the one of the whole of love, unconditional love, not murder, not bloodshed, not divide. And oddly enough, this ties into the election. Who do you stand for? Kurt Cobain was a good guy. He will once again be free. Trump versus Biden. What is going on with this? I know for a fact that when I activated Kilimanjaro, Congo, and British Columbia, there were pyramids there. I blew up Kilimanjaro 3 times. I activated some pyramids underwater, and then I demolished the White House. Watch that video. Again, I will post the link under this video. When you watch that video, there were tunnels underneath the White House. There are people who wear the crosses upside down. It wasn't China who made the V. Hear me clearly. British monarchy and the American matrix. Do you want to know where the fallen reside? Watch my videos. The fallen angel is shown. Jesus was murdered at the Euphrates River. That actually started up when I started freeing his soul. That started drying up. It's all there. The proof is there. That's also part of the true path of the return of Christ. The Bible is manipulated. It has some truth and a lot of lies. So here is what they say about Trump versus Biden. Political downfall forecasted. White House will not survive, will not last. I demolish it once and for all. This is back to the king and queen that belong here, Adam and Eve. That's the return of Christ. Which Jesus and Mary Magdalene and Sekhmet and Horus were the same souls, just different lifetimes. And you can watch that play out on my channel. I didn't know it either until it did. Piece by piece, it is the beginning to fall. With Trump, there is more than meets the eyes. A swing coming from demise to rise. Let me say that again. The White House will not survive, will not last. Piece by piece, it is beginning to fall. And with Trump, there is more going on than meets the eyes. A swing coming from demise to rise. Exposures at its finest. Do not be fooled above all. It's time to rise. United we stand, united they fall. His job, Trump's job, is to help expose it all. That's how he is redeeming his soul. Be safe this week. Choose love. Don't celebrate death and bloodshed and divide. If you do, that's your choice. But no, you won't be on the path of rise. So much love to all of you. I will see you next time. Remember, God is unconditional love. Everything that happened was a lie. There are some truths, and the rest was created to manipulate you. You were praying to a false God. God wouldn't hurt anybody. God does not agree with suffering and bloodshed and divide. God does not agree with judgments of any kind. Who are you to judge anyone? You're not better than anybody. We are all connected, and we should be all united through love and in our own power of creation. Rise above, choose love, and do it now. So much love.